Hello, everybody. I hope that you had a good beginning of the week. I didn't, but that's okay. And I'm a little tired because I've been working all day to get ready for the horrible cold snap we are expecting for the end of the week. I know that a lot of the country is caught in that. I also need to advise you that I am not entirely sure if I'm going to be able to have any kind of lives Saturday or Sunday because of the weather and because the barometer moves a lot, but it's going to be very cold, and I live in a house, and when it's getting that cold, the floor gets very cold. So I don't know how well my heater will be able to keep up with it. And just to give you an idea, as you can see, excuse me, it starts Thursday night, and then Friday looks 30. That looks good, right? But Friday night 7, Saturday high 14, Saturday night 3, Sunday high 21, Sunday night 3, and then finally Tuesday is going to be a little bit better. So I'm going to have to be able to be awake a lot, to watch my pipes, to leave things dripping, to keep my oven on. I usually keep my oven on because when we get cold snaps like that, because my my pipes are in a... Hi, Dudzik. Hi from Poland. I'm sorry, I don't speak Polish. That's one of the things I don't speak. I have the pipes in the wall between the bathroom and the kitchen, so when I heat up the oven, of course, the wall behind it gets warm. So I use that to keep my pipes from freezing, because that's the last thing I need, frozen pipes. And anyway, so it is just a warning of sorts. Tomorrow morning, and I've been also busy today, I still have to do some more stuff tomorrow morning. I've been preparing little shelters for the stray cats in the neighborhood on my porch, because they have the tendency to come here. It's a little bit out of the wind. My only hope is that we don't get any kind of freezing rain Thursday night, because that is horrible in my neighborhood. Usually we don't have snowstorms, we have ice storms, but apparently this time we're gonna have snow. So, as I said, I'm a little tired, so we're gonna go through some things really fast. First of all, the easiest ways to create something, and it doesn't really matter what textures you use, absolutely does not matter. And one thing that I didn't do is to bring my heart cutter. Just a second, please. I cannot find my medium heart cutter, so we're gonna do something small. Okay, so the easiest way possible is to just grab... I'm going to show you how to make a real easy texture made using texture. I moved the I'm rearranging some stuff here and I moved the armor all. I couldn't find it. A few ways of using texture and getting nice stuff, nice results. So as I said, it doesn't really matter. It is advisable that you use floral ones, but as I said, it's not a must. You can use practically any kind of texture. What I'm using here is a Cool Tools texture, and I think I got a relatively okay imprint. So I'm going to look where I got the best imprint, and I think it's here. Using white with chalk pastels to create a ceramic look. And on this one you are not going to use any kind of bezel. Okay, and let me get my thing up here. And what you want is to, you don't want too dark of a color. You want something that would be more like a beigeish or a light gray, one of the two. You don't want something else. And I'm going to actually use a light gray. Remember, when you select the chalk pastels that you want for your pieces, always go for something that says soft. And this is absolutely what you want. Make sure that you don't have any armor all left. And you can gently feather round up the edges with your finger. Going to be fine. The little things here, you don't have to waste time to fix them, because just a simple swipe or two of the sandpaper should get rid of these. And also, after you bake, make sure you put use some sandpaper on the back to get rid of any shinies. So I'm just using a little bit of light gray. I always need to put stuff back or I forget. The joys of getting old. Right. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that it goes in the nooks and crannies, because you want to practically get the recessed parts colored. And I apologize for my voice being like this. This is why I couldn't do stuff Sunday. I got a bit of a cold, not a terrifically bad one. I only coughed a little bit, but my throat was sore, and I just had that general feeling of malaise, when you just don't feel good. You cannot really explain. I mean, you're not feverish, you're not in pain, you're not coughing, but you're just blah. And then I'm going to use a little bit of alcohol on a paper towel, and I'm going to gently brush off. And I would recommend that you use you can use a liquid clay, translucent liquid clay, but the other thing that you can use is the simple, let me see if I have it here, Not this one. I only have liquid polymer clay. Oh, I have a whole bunch of stuff, but nothing that... Okay, you can use Brilliant Glaze by Scalpy. You can place the Brilliant Glaze on the clay before baking, and you can do another coat after you're baking. And of course you can use other colors if you want. You can even use an off-white, even a pink. Just don't go with colors that would be too contrasting. I'm going to actually use my finger on this, and we're gonna set it aside because it should be dry by the time I finish the live. I mean, it does dry in here, but you can also bake with it on it. Be careful with other glazes. Not all of them are good for baking. Make sure that, like for example, do not bake minwax, do not bake shellac, only if it is something that allows you. Then the second type, I'm gonna put this to the side. I have some stuff in the oven, and all my mirrors are taken, so to speak. When you go with the black, make sure that your surface is perfectly flat. Sometimes when you go on the thicker setting, the same as you go on the thinner setting on your pasta machine, you might get the gear lines. Let me see if I still have any left. Yes, I do. This is something that is common. Don't fret, your machine is not broken. This is how it, because when it's a very large, it's a very thick setting, the gears are almost completely disconnected, so you will get these lines. And the same goes for when they are too fully connected on the thinner settings. So make sure that you do a little bit of evening out with your roller until you can see that you don't have those anymore. And I'm going to use the same thing. Don't use too much because you don't want to have to wipe it all the time. And now the next one, you can use both wax or mica powder. If you use any mica powder other than Perfect Pearls, you will have to varnish. The easiest is to use just plain wax. As you can see, I'm using the exact same one. And we shall put them one near the other. Okay, I want this. I'm going to gently pat dry to remove all the Armor All traces. And as you can see, I have a flower right here, and I want to place my heart right on top of it. And there we go. But then I'm going to do something else and also give you a little tip. As I said, on the ceramic one, you don't put any bezel because it's supposed to be a piece of ceramic. So in general, ceramics do not have to be bezeled. Okay, now for this one you can use silvery, you can use goldish, you can use whatever you find, if I can find it, because I thought I had it here. And I think not. I'm sorry, I thought I had them here. I've been running around all day long. I had so many things to do that I would drop something and then start on something else and then remember that, hey, you were doing something else. Okay, so I'm gonna use the white gold because it's like in between. This is the Art Alchemy and Prima Marketing Art Alchemy in the metallic line. And I'm going to, yeah, it's not wet anymore. We are going to make a metal one, yes. And of course you can leave it like this with no bezel whatsoever. But you can actually make it a bezel. And the way we are going to do that I need to clean my finger. People who have followed me for a long time know that I have this bad habit of working with my hands, so my fingers always need cleaning. I'm going to just grab a little of this black clay. Actually, I'm going to do all of it first. And you can use the exact, I'll show you how you can use the exact same texture. It won't make any difference. You can use a specific texture, of course, if you want to, but you don't have to. All right, so I am going to cut it. Okay, I don't need all this. Always cut the top part first, because that way you'll be able to figure out the width. So I think that if we do it about this thick, should be perfect for that size. And then what I'm going to do, and yes, I'm going to have to clean my finger again. Hi Elaine, I'm glad you made it. I intended to call you, and I will call you, yeah, in a little bit. But I was so caught up with all the stuff I need to do. Okay, so I got a different one. I was supposed to use the white gold, not the vintage gold. Got the wrong one. The barometer is supposed to go super high this on all this winter event. So what I noticed is that when the barometer goes down, my bones hurt. When the barometer goes up, my my muscles hurt. So I guess it's a. I was reading the other day something from rheumatologist and said that usually it's, and especially for people with fibro, the muscle pain increases on high barometric pressure. Okay, now you can place the bezel in how many ways you want, but the problem is that you'll always have an issue with this. This is about hearts. That's why I decided to do a bezel one. You have this thing here that is, if you try to put the bezel around, it's going to be very difficult to make. So what you do is you place see, this would be the line on the heart. So I am placing the bezel in the same line, right? And then I'm going to cut perpendicular on the heart. So now we know that placed in here. Of course, you can come in and rearrange the whole thing. And then as we get here, we do another perpendicular cut. If we want it to go. So again, place it parallel to the line and then cut like this. So now we can place, so it would go perfectly around and get into it. So now here again we are going to cut and there we go, we got a perfect bezel. Let's make sure that it is well tucked against the heart itself so that it will bake in one piece. Now, my advice, because you already have it fairly thick, my advice is that once you bake it, of course you can use a pinch bail here, and once you bake it, you can also make the bezel a different gold, but again, once you bake it, just take it off the baking blank and then turn it around, do a few swipes of low grit sand paper. Why you want the low grit? Because you want it to look like if it was cast in sand. Generally this is an antique faux, right? Antique looking thing. And generally, in the old times, they did not have molds. They did not have all kinds of things. So the back of the things, especially when you try to imitate an antique, you do not put a texture on the back, because the way that they were doing it, they would cast it on sand. And then they would file any irregularities. So what you want is to have some lines. I usually, when I do place an extra backing, which is not the case here, I usually use a very tough bristle toothbrush, or those brushes you clean your fingernails with, to do some of those, and after that I apply some wax. So once this is baked, you remove it, you do a few strokes of coarse grit sandpaper, and then you apply more wax on the sides, because see, the sides are not waxed, and on the back as well. So you'd have a completely, entirely, and once this is baked and it's hardened, you just buff it with a chamois, I don't use a chamois. You've seen me using this in a lot of the tutorials. This is the chamois style piece of cloth that does a wonderful job um, on buffing wax. So I'm going to put this aside as well, and we are going to do, and this time I'm going to actually use some mica powder. Let me grab. And I'm going to use still the black. I might not get the mica powder because my legs are hurting. So I'm not doing it up. I'm going to just use some wax again. But doing the same thing. As before, with the same exact texture. What the heck? Where are you? Okay, I want this one here. I was trying to find the flower. So yeah, I'm sorry that today's live is more towards beginners. But I hope even the more experienced people can still find something pretty. Now, see, here I have an area where I have two things coming down like this. So I think that is what I'm going to use to cut my heart. And I'm not going to do anything with this because I'm going to show you how it is with a bezel and how it is with, first how it is without a bezel and then how it is with a bezel. So this is turquoise satin. Again, I want to wipe the sides a little bit to round them gently, and then Finnegan fell with his box. I think I told you that I ordered something that came in a box that Finnegan decided is his size, so he took occupancy of it and I'm not allowed to throw it away. And he likes to sit in his box and watch the interactive toy going round and round. And sometimes he sleeps in that box, so I guess he wanted to get out and he fell with it. Okay, so we got this one that's very simple, very pretty, very delicate, and it's going to be nice and shiny once it is buffed. But let's do it with a different, with a little bit of a, this should be enough, of a bezel. Let me see if it is enough or not, because I'm not sure. It is not enough, so I'm gonna have to do it again. Sorry. I do not want the one that's got wax on it. Okay, and using the same thing. As I said, various looks, just using the same base, basically. And this time I am going to use Royal Robes, which has a tint more purple than the turquoise satin. Purple pinkish, kind of, sort of. And it's a lot more delicate, less flashy if you want. It does it does add color, but not as strong as the turquoise satin. Again, I have to clean my finger. And by the way, if you are like me and you get your fingers very sorry, very dirty, what I use, never use, I've seen in some channels that they recommend you use hand cream to clean your hands. No. Remember that you have things as ointments, and I'm using exactly the same thing that I used on the other one. You're using ointments for medication to penetrate the skin and act on your health, right? If you use hand cream when you have all kinds of polymer clay or paints or whatever on your hands, all you're doing it is to pretty much dissolve it in the cream so it can penetrate your skin better. So what you want to do is, what I found that's the best thing to clean, well, except for UV resin, because when it's about UV resin you definitely need alcohol, but otherwise use lava soap. Okay, this is too much. Lava soap will clean your hands perfectly, and you will have absolutely no problem. And there we go. And the same thing for this one. Don't use a texture on the back. This is more goth than anything else, but it's another way. And again, make sure that it is well against the heart, and it can even look a little bit like if it was embroidered. And now a third one. I'm going to place it here too. 3 different models, 3 different things. Let me see if I'm gonna use a little bit of pink, a little bit of fuchsia, and some black, right? So so I'm going to use not a lot. I don't need a lot here. So this much. And I'm going to do a stamped mokumegane, but a little bit different than I usually do. You know how I usually put 2 or 3 colors in the background, and then I cover them with a very thin sheet of something that will be the foreground. In this case, I'm going to use the black. But I'm going to get with this through the pasta machine several times until they are very thin. would make this really thinnish. Now the black, I'm going to go with it on a very, very thin. And now with this, I'm gonna go on a 4, no, on a 3. This should do it. And then use the exact same texture. And again, my recommendation is to use something floral. Oh, I didn't check what I'm putting up there. Let's do this. I hope I got it strong enough. I've been having a lot of issues with my hands lately. I hope it's not, the time has not come where they stop functioning, but you never know. I'm having some nerves that are definitely pinched because I'm getting pain and tingling. And sometimes, and they started not listening more than usual. Okay, I need my eyeglasses. And shave, shave, shave. And especially if you're working with a white or a black Primo, remember those are softer and stickier than normal for some reason. I don't know what pigments they are using. So you want to be able to clean your blade frequently with a paper towel that you have sprayed some Armor All on. Otherwise the blade will be super sticky. But we want to go all the way to uncover the whole flower. So I'm going to go a little bit in here. And very carefully shave. Carefully and delicately until I'm getting my whole flower uncovered. See, this is the only time that I would, because you know I normally shave with at the same distance, but this would be the only time that I would bend my blade, because that way you can get more control about exactly what you're shaving. Just at the direct point of contact. And there we go. Now I have all my flour. I can take my glasses off. So, and this one you definitely want to put in a little bezel. You can even place it, of course you will burnish it before anything else. So, because you want it to be even. You can even place it on a cabochon, hard cabochon. And I might actually do that. I don't know, maybe not. See, I'm in pain already, and just the thought of bending and getting stuff is not happy to me. Not that you don't deserve it, you fully deserve it, but As I said, I have not been in a very good place health-wise lately, and I shudder to think how it's going to be in the future. So again, you use the bigger one. I personally suspect that I did pack that specific cutter with some clay, so I need to go and look in my scrap clay thing. Now, if you go with something like this, you can go ahead and resin it if you want. Don't, if you want to sand and buff it, don't sand too deep, because you're going to start discovering lower and lower levels of the clay. But you can definitely resin it. So let's look at all of them. This is the varnish is done. So the little ceramic type one. Then the oh, come on, the vintage metal. And the Gothic type one. So four different ones, of course, 4 different ones with the same, using the same texture, but different techniques and different media. So as you can see, you can get, there we go, you can get a whole bunch of nice stuff done, especially if you are selling at a venue. It makes your life very easy, because you can make a whole batch of them at once and just go through each of them in turn. Yeah, hi Windex. I hope I will be better, but probably I'm not going to be better until this whole cold snap goes by. So I'm looking at the weekend of pain. So I don't know. As I said, it is possible that we might not have any kind of live this weekend, not the sponsors for Saturday and not the public one for Sunday, because of how cold it's going to be. I don't know how I'm going to react to it, and the floor will be very cold. So thank you, Elaine. So I will let you know. I'll definitely post in the community tab. But until then, I hope that if you're caught in this, you stay warm and are not in a lot of pain. Otherwise, have a wonderful, wonderful week. And I love you all. Don't forget, if you're new, don't forget to like and subscribe. Yeah, that is good. Thank you so much.